Wait, the turbines don't go to speed?
Whatever.
They make the speed.
I don't know.
Unless you mean they're going to go get speed as in the drug. Then you shouldn't do that because speed's bad, okay?
Okay. Speaking of that, I was quite amazed.
That you took speed and it didn't kill you?
No, I was flipping through the channels this morning. It was about 8 o'clock, 8:30 in the morning, because Futurama was over at 8:30, and South Park came on. And at 8:30 in the morning on on Comedy Central, it was an uncensored South Park, completely uncensored. And I was just like, I wonder if they meant to play that episode this early in the day. Seeing as it's only one channel away from Nickelodeon.
At least on our case, it is.
Yeah, in our neck of the woods, it is. I mean, literally, it's the channel right after Nickelodeon. It's like, oh, okay. Hey, look, a cartoon, Mom and Dad. What did he just say about the police? Completely uncensored. I was like, and it struck me as, like, at first I was like, did he really just, I guess, yeah, he did. And he keeps saying it. Oh, wow. That is a lot of F-bombs in a half hour.
Well, as I recall, they only did that one episode.
Well,
and they kept a counter. Uncut.
No, that was the shit episode. They kept a counter for that one. But this one, they were playing NWA's song about the police.
Oh.
Yeah. And then referred to that song over and over and over and over again. So I was like, yeah, okay. Let's see. I counted at least 30 or 40 of them in that half hour. I was like, wow, check that out. But either way, I mean, it's Comedy Central, and Comedy Central does what they want to do. So they seem to think that to be funny, you have to say nasty words or say words that shouldn't be said, that used to not be able to be said on television. So, but that's neither here nor there. Welcome to the Geek EZ, everybody. We're live. We're on Twitch. We're on YouTube, and kind of a quiet room today. We got Tank, but Tank's playing the game. Roland's here. A little bit. Wolfie said he will be late.
How did I get here?
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
We got No Trash Panda, because we knew he wasn't going to be here. He works every other week. And Alistair is MIA.
Gasp.
But that could have a lot to do with the leftovers or the cleanup from Hurricane Florence. So technically, I have not heard from Alistair in a long time. Has he posted anything on Facebook lately?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Sony is folding.
Yes.
Insofar as that they are going to do crossplay. Oh, wait, we need to do the thing?
Yeah, we need to do the thing. Let's do that thing. And then we'll be back. That quick little 30-second opener thing that we got that says that.
It's not even 30 seconds anymore.
Not even that. And yeah, but it's a little disclaimer to let people know that we might say something that might offend someone somewhere. But
like you said already?
I didn't say the word. Never said it.
That episode?
That episode, yes, that episode. And I think it was more the fact that at 8:30 in the morning, that's just not something you expect to hear on television. But yeah, let's do this.
The following podcast is intended for mature audiences. The opinions expressed do not reflect this station or any affiliated partners. Listener discretion is advised.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Geek EZ.
And we're back.
Yay. If it seems like I'm not paying attention, it's probably because I'm not. There's a lot of explosions in my ears.
A lot of
explosions.
Speaking of explosions, well, since you're doing a game, and the game that I play fairly religiously to this point now is Star Wars Battlefront 2, and they just released another update to the game, which, in my opinion, kind of the game a little bit. They added a squad system, kind of like Battlefield has, where you can spawn on other players or people in your group. Problem is, if you have more than 4 people in your group, it nerfs the system and nothing works. and you have to keep going back to the beginning of the wherever it was, the default spawn area anyway. So there was that aspect of it because I was playing a match the other night or yesterday night when it got released. It got released yesterday, and I think there were 6 of us playing. We were grouped up, and nobody could spawn on anybody. It's supposed to be where you can spawn right next to your teammates as long as they're not in combat, and nothing happened. None of us could get anywhere. We always had to start at the default spawn spot, which kind of blew. That, and they nerfed a bunch of weapons, which kind of bugs me. They have made basically the ion torpedo, which used to be the only way to really take things out vehicle-wise. They nerfed it completely, and now it doesn't work at all. It used to take down an ATST with 3 hits. Now it takes 6 or 7. And I'm like, yeah, well, what's the point of having this thing if it doesn't do anything?
Apparently, no point.
Yeah, EA, DICE kind of dropped the ball on this one. I think because they had already nerfed it. They had nerfed it to the point where it was just strong enough that if you got perfect hits, you could take out an ATST. Now it does barely any damage to it. You had ion turrets that the heavies could drop as well that used to target everything, whether it was a person, a soldier, and or a vehicle. Now they only target vehicles. So they nerfed that completely because it used to be an easy way to protect yourself. You could drop one and it would do damage, very little damage, but it would do enough damage to somebody who was shooting at you that they would have to move out of the way and stop firing at you. Now it does nothing to them. They can go run right through it and it doesn't hurt them at all. And it's just, yeah. So the game got a little harder to play.
But not in a good way.
But not in a good way, yeah. I mean, I know a lot of people, I've seen a couple of people say, oh, I really like this, as long as you're not playing in a group of people. You can spawn on people closer to the objectives, as long as you're not playing in too big a group. If you're in too big a group, it's done. But now, if you are in a vehicle, you reign supreme. There is no way to stop it unless you have multiple heavies firing on it at the same time. Multiple ion cannons firing on it at the same time. Because there's no way, because it used to be 1 or 2 guys playing that role as a heavy could come in and they could help defend against these things. Now you need at least 5 or 6 guys. If they have now, I think they've actually upped the number of heroes you're allowed to have. Used to be 3 per match. Now I have seen games where they had all 6 heroes out on there, and then you're done. The other team has already won because it seemed that only the opposing team was able to have 6 heroes, while the defending team wasn't. So if you were on the defense, if there was offense and defense, if you were the defensive team, you were stuck with 3 heroes. The offensive team had 6, and that seemed a little. I'm like, really? What's going on here? How come they're all out? You had Vader and Maul and Kylo Ren and the Emperor. They're all here, and we have Yoda, and that was it. I was like, this is not right. So they need to work on that, and there's a whole bunch of other stuff that needs to be worked on. They were trying to make the game more competitive, and I think they're going to lose people at this point because they've screwed up the system even more than it was. Because it was a fun game. It was fun to go in there. I mean, even if you didn't win, at least you had fun going around. Now it's just like you have to wait. People have also commented that it's like, wow, I seem to be dying a lot more. The character, I just don't seem to be on screen as long as I was before. I'm getting a lot more deaths per kills. But I don't know. That's the game I play. I mean, I haven't played Star Trek Online. I probably won't. I mean, Star Trek Online for me, it's tedious. It's like, oh, here, I got to walk from one side of the station to the other. Oh, I got to walk from one side of the planet to the other. And every once in a while, I have to shoot at these guys. And yeah, see, it's kind of losing it for me because it's boring.
Yep, keep coming back.
Who keeps coming back? I haven't played that game in over a month.
I didn't say you, just keep coming back.
Yeah, people, I mean, you know what? Some people like it. I just find it kind of tedious.
Well, the earlier missions definitely are tedious.
Oh, God, yes.
Or if you go into the Delta Quadrant, those are also tedious.
But even the Deep Space Nine mission I just played was, I mean, it was so repetitive. It wasn't even funny. It's like, oh, I got to do that again. oh, the same thing. Oh, okay, I'll just do the same thing again. It gets repetitive. I mean, I realize Battlefront is the same way. I mean, it's always the same objective, but it's always the gameplay always changes because you're playing against other people who are in different places. If I was playing against AIs that were always in the same spot, once you learn where they are, you just don't go there. But now you're playing against other people, and it's different. I guess Star Trek, they do have a player versus player in Star Trek, right?
Sure, but
Yeah.
They do.
it doesn't. It's not the thing. It's not the reason why you play it. And they haven't done any reworking of PvP in, I don't know, ever.
Years.
Firefly's asking how the system worked just fine in other Battlefield games. How on Terra they bollocksed that up. They bollocksed it up because they hadn't used it. It wasn't being used in Battlefront, and Battlefront was working just fine. If you grouped up, and that was all there was to it. Sure, you had to spawn at the default spawn point, but that was, I mean, some of it got annoying because if your team was losing, for some reason the default spawn point ended up a lot further away from your objective than it was supposed to, that it used to be. I mean, when you have to travel the entire map and pray you don't get sniped along the way, it gets kind of old. But now they made it to where you can spawn on your team, but if the team is under fire, you can't spawn next to them. And if again, there was nobody in the game we were playing, no one out of both sides. They're all saying, "Is anybody getting anybody to spawn next to it?" Nobody could spawn, so it was already broken. It hadn't even been out for, 24 hours, and it was already a busted system.
It was broke.
And because for some silly reason I opened Battlefront, the original Battlefront 1 from 2015. I think graphically and visually that game looks better. Because I have them both tweaked. I have them all tweaked to where it's supposed to be at its best, and I think visually the first one looks better. It looks more cinematic. The second one looks a little cartoony comparatively. I mean, it's still gorgeously rendered. It just doesn't have the same realism feel as the first one did.
We're talking
Mr.
EA's Battlefront.
Yes, EA's Battlefront. No, the original Battlefront, which I am amazed you can go on Twitch and people are still playing it.
Uh-huh.
And I watched it and I was like, how did I lose at this game? Because I'm watching them play, I'm like, how did I lose? There's no way I could have lost if I'm playing the new one. And I will tell you right now, Battlefront 2 is a fast-paced game, especially when you're playing against other people. It's extremely fast-paced. It is, everything is on the move constantly. And I was like watching people play Battlefront, I was like, it's so slow. So slow. Now, I should have.
At the time, though, it was pretty fast-paced.
I should have grabbed the Battlefield 5 open beta when they had it, and I didn't. Because, I watched other people playing, and I jumped on Twitch to see how it looked, and I was like, you know what, I should download it, and then I just never did, and I missed out on it, so. It did look good. It looked fun.
Well, as long as you don't mention anything about Call of Duty to Burrito.
Why?
Because he is constantly going on about it.
I haven't played COD in so long. I think let's see. I think the only one I own is the Big Red one. And once they started going into like the future weapons and all that kind of stuff, I was like, nah, Call of Duty was better when it was set in like World War II and you had machine guns and bayonets and hand grenades. Now you got laser weapons and zombies. What's that all about?
Basically, all I'm hearing from Adam at the moment is, you kids in your goddamned laser beam weapon type things.
My favorite game right now is a game full of laser beams and that stuff. But Call of Duty was always a war. It was very realistic war stuff. And then it was like Call of Duty Future War or whatever. I was like, what the heck?
Yeah, it's like I remember when the Xbox 360 first came out, that I was I want to say Call of Duty World at War was the premier launch title. I'm pretty sure it was Call of Duty.
I don't know. I haven't played Call of Duty in years. Pretty much since they moved away from World War II, anyway. Medal of Honor and Call of Duty, I enjoyed them back in the day, but then I think there was another Call of Duty that I can't recall of it that I played, and I was like, the controls are crap. And I quit and never played them again.
Are there any Vietnam War or Korean War games?
There have been, yes.
Really, there have been?
Mhm.
Vietnam, yes. Korean, no.
I'm amazed that the Korean War one gets that, because for some reason it's okay to shoot Germans. There's a lot of World War II games.
Actually, you want to know what's funny? I actually saw in the news or read something the other day that Germany is actually lifting the ban on some Nazi swastikas in media.
It's kind of a surprise.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if that's because their version of the alt-right hasn't managed to make some inroads.
Well, here's the thing. They can use the swastikas currently in like historical type things. Like
And I can understand in
films.
museums and stuff like that.
Yeah. But past that, you couldn't even do it in Wolfenstein.
Well, like I said, though, it is an acceptable antagonist in video games. Whereas when you start throwing Asian people, whether they're Korean or Vietnamese, into a game, it starts to tread on. It's like, I don't know.
The get a bit into racism there.
Yeah, the World War, but for some reason it's okay to shoot Germans. Because I don't think there's too many Japanese, like Pacific.
There was.
I
think Medal of Honor. Is it Medal of Honor or Call of Duty?
Was that air-based and water-based, or was that ground combat?
It was ground combat.
Oh, okay.
And let me tell you, it was kind of terrifying fighting those guys. I mean, granted, that's the way that the game was made, but still, if they were close enough to try to stab you with a bayonet, they were going to try to stab you with a bayonet.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's some of the stories I've read from people who were there. And the fact that, I mean, you're reading these stories and you're like, holy cow. And then you realize that these kids were like 18 and 19 years old. And they were, I mean, talk about hell on earth.
Well, don't forget that there were the occasional soldiers that were like 16 or 17.
Yeah, the guys that snuck through.
Yeah.
There's a whole different, I mean, I guess there was a different mindset. There was a definite, I don't know. I don't see that happening today.
Speaking of Call of Duty, apparently that there was going to be a Call of Duty Vietnam. It's been canceled.
Man, that would be horrible. It's like, well, with here we have the digital version of Hamburger Hill. What?
Well, there is a Tunnel Rats game from 2009. That would be terrifying. And in my personal opinion, I'm kind of with the Australians on that whole tactic. They were like, why are you going on after them? That's stupid.
Yeah. Just burn them out.
Well, they didn't even burn them out. They just basically stuck an equivalent of a tube and then turned on an engine.
There you go.
And blew smoke down there. And then there's and I remember reading something that's like, and we just would wait and watch, and eventually we'd suddenly see smoke coming out of all sorts of places.
Yeah,
see, Firefly pointing out Call of Duty, Black Ops technically includes Vietnam. I guess so. There was the Panzer General game, People's General, where you actually did get to go back and fight in Vietnam.
It's just not an error. It's like I'm waiting for the for real like Persian Gulf game. which I doubt would happen because of what's the word I'm looking for? Cultural awareness kind of thing. I don't think that would happen at this point, but
Probably not.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's been actually quite a few Vietnam games. Like Battlefield Vietnam. I kind of vaguely recall that. Conflict Vietnam.
Yeah.
I never played them. Oh yeah, Platoon. I forgot there was Platoon for the NES.
Okay, I'm gonna have to pitch this to Hasbro. Hasbro has to make a Transformers game in the version, a first-person Transformers shooter. I was just thinking how, because I mean, my head is already on the next part of this of what we're going to talk about tonight, but I'm thinking, how awesome would that be? It's like
I'm here.
Your heroes would be Optimus and Bumblebee and Ironhide, and the villains would be Megatron and Shockwave and Soundwave. They'd have their, I mean, you could do it just like Battlefront, but it would be the Transformers.
Yep, and in other news today, Bowsette takes over the internet.
What?
Yeah, so Nintendo had announced that there was going to be a new power-up, the Super Crown, where Toadette, because that's a character you can play in the game, can get and become Peachette. And it went from there. A lot of people who apparently pay attention to that had a lot of questions about it. So wait a minute, is this something that's going to affect the rest of the Mario universe? Is this going to be a regular thing? And it became a meme, and now you have Bowsette. Where Bowser puts on the Super Crown and becomes, well, I mean, it becomes Peach, but not Peach.
To basically use a fighting game term, Bowser became a Bridget. Bowser has become the reverse trap.
Bowser has become poison from Final Fight.
Just to give you an idea. I dropped it in the cantina.
Why force is she so over-sexualized?
Hi, this is Japan.
Yes, it's true.
Hi, this is the internet.
And actually, at least in the image that I dropped, not really. I mean,
that's one of the least sexualized ones out of some of the ones I've seen.
Yes, I'm not saying that they aren't out there, and Lord knows there are. But apparently, it's just exploded, and there's, like, my DeviantArt has been full of images of Bowsette. And it's spread to, like, Boo and Bullet Bill and
Kirby.
The Chomper.
The Shy Guys, Wario, Luigi, Waluigi.
And then it's spread to Sonic and Tails, and one of the images also in the cantina, Pokemon.
Oh, and a really disturbing picture of a double Princess Peach.
Yes, what happens if Princess Peach wears the Super Crown? She becomes Peach beyond Peach.
She becomes Peach plus Ultra.
That's a lot of Peach.
This is Peach, who has ascended past being a Super Peach. Or you can just call her Super Peach, too.
Mm.
And
but this wasn't really
to go even further beyond.
It's not really controversial, though, right? It's just kind of just went crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It did go pretty crazy.
Unlike other art forms that went controversial over the past week. We got to see the bat rope.
Oh, boy.
What, bat schlong?
You know what? To be perfectly honest, I have seen
bat dick.
Yeah, I've seen the art. I've seen the actual frame. The the comic I have doesn't have it. I've got the book, and you know what? It doesn't have it. So it's actually been an edited print. So I was like, wow, that was fast. But the
They got their money.
I know that they got the digital prints have all been wiped clean. And if you don't know what we're talking about, which I'm amazed you wouldn't because it's been all over. I mean, I'm pretty sure even the big news outlets picked it up. DC's new adult themed comic books. I think this was the first one, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
It's supposed to be for a mature audience.
mature audiences, mature readers. And there is a scene where I guess Batman is stripping as he walks through the Batcave. And they, you know what though? It's not like they drew it. It was highlighted. There was a highlight where the light would have caught genitals. And there was a highlight. It was there, but it wasn't like in your face, like him sitting there swinging it around or anything. It was a shadow with, seriously, it's a white line.
It wasn't Dr. Manhattan in your face.
No, yeah, it's not like there was, yeah, it's not like Dr. Manhattan's little blue trouser smurf floating around the entire comic book. This
For
was,
the movie and not little.
yeah, well, it's, well, again, yeah, it wasn't that. I mean, there was just, it was a hint that, yes, this guy's naked. And people lost their freaking minds. It was like, what does, I mean, again, why would they do it? I was like, I don't know. You know what? The guy's naked. He's standing in the shadows with a hard, with a hard. Oh, let's not use that word. With harsh lighting from one side that would catch and highlight certain areas of his body, and they did it. It highlighted his thigh and just enough to hint that yes, this dude's naked. And people lost their freaking minds. And then, and what's really funny is DC backpedaled on it. I was like, this is a book put out for mature readers.
Adult.
Again, adult. This was for adult readers. And it's not like it was an overtly sexual thing or anything. It was just he happened to be stripping down on his way through the Batcave. And I guess it was...
Yeah, I was going to say, what are the odds that the majority of people that were bitching about it were quote-unquote concerned mothers?
You know what, though? I don't get it.
doubt it.
Because if you go through any one of the comic books right now, any female character in a spandex, Phoenix, trying to think of any characters that wear skin-tight outfits, where the artist will literally draw everything but the nipples and genitals. And it's basically just a naked body painted to look like it has clothes on it. If you're going to draw the belly button, which if you're wearing spandex, you will not see the belly button. It's just not something that appears. The stomach will be flat. There will be an indent there, but it is not an actual belly button. And I have seen many artists who draw the belly button on female characters when they're in these skin-tight spandex outfits. It's the same thing.
Or the frequent instances of camel toe.
But you know what? It's, yeah, I mean, it's not as frequent as it used to be. I think for some reason, there was a big run on that in the late 90s, early 2000s. But, I mean, and again, it depends on the books you're reading. But I know a lot of artists that basically draw a naked woman's body and then just kind of paint clothes onto it. And that's the way it's there. And yeah, do they go out of their way? I mean, we've seen silhouetted breasts and stuff in comic books where you can see the shape of the woman completely, and it's silhouetted. It's not like she's not naked. Yet all of a sudden they do the same thing to Batman where they highlight. I mean, literally, it is just a white line, and everybody loses their mind. I don't get it.
Because now your imagination can fill in the rest. Oh my god, I just got flashed.
Maybe it was the way it was framed, because it really is a like upper abs to mid knee or mid thigh shot of Batman, and that's what you're seeing of Batman in the way that it's framed. That could be it. That it wasn't. It was like they highlighted his crotch, and I was like,
it's a pretty noticeable focus. Sure, it's probably fair to kind of point that out.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of like some of the shots that they used to do in the old Captain Marvel books when when she had her black outfit, and they would always show her from a low angle from behind, so all you got was like mid back to the bottom of her legs, and it was all butt. Which, I mean, those used to crack me up. I was like, how is that not over sexualizing this character? And how does she fight crime in that outfit? That has to hurt. There's got to be chafing going on somewhere. And then they switched her completely. Captain Marvel is now completely covered from the neck down. I guess she got a little modest in her old age. But that was the controversy. I mean, I understand where they're coming from. I can see it. But I mean, again, I think it was more DC's backpedaling on something that they claimed was going to be for a more mature audience. Obviously, the more mature audience they thought they were selling to wasn't so mature. And neither were the publications that were reporting on it.
Well, for the first run printings, they're certainly worth money.
Mm-hmm.
And I know this because when I went to get my books today, I asked if they wouldn't happen to have had a copy, and they said, yes, we do. We have one copy, and it's $100. Because the price of those things skyrocketed.
Yep.
I was like, well, I don't really want it that badly. I guess I should have bought it when it first came out.
I think the best headline I saw, I think it was comicbook.com. There's a new dick in the Batcave, and it's not a Grayson.
Is it really new? It's always been with him.
Yeah, it's not like it just appeared. He doesn't wear a codpiece for no reason.
Unless it did just appear, and he's like, Alfred, what is this?
I don't know what to do with this. Where'd it come from?
I'm the world's greatest detective. I must find out where it came from. So that would happen to be your... You know what? No, I'm going to let this one go. I'm going to see where this goes. Alfred, if you know something. No, I know nothing at all, sir. Surely not.
Funny that no one used the private dick thing, being the world's greatest detective.
Mm.
But, again, I still, I think in the past week, the bigger news for me was the Transformers stuff. The bat genitals, whatever. It was G1 Transformers that totally, I was like, yep, that's for, it was a geek moment for me that it was just like, yeah!
I read somewhere that ILM was like, oh, we don't know how to do this. And so they just basically put 30,000 parts of vehicle into robot, whatnot, in the Michael Bay films because no one knew how to make them look like they used to. And then this film comes out and it's like, this is how you do it.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure it's ILM doing it again. Either way.
Which probably suggests that somebody screwed up the direction in the beginning.
This is Michael Bay.
Mm-hmm.
This is a reboot. This is not a continuation. This is them trying to salvage the franchise. And finally...
What was what? 1, 2, and 3?
You know what? The first one had potential.
First one did have potential.
If the Decepticons were not so confusing as to who was on screen because they were all gray and they all had that just mishmash look, whereas the Autobots were very different from each other. You could tell who Ratchet was, who Ironhide was, who Bumblebee was, who Jazz was, who Optimus was. You knew those characters. But then the Decepticons got on screen and they all looked exactly alike.
The only one that was the exception was the one that was the Mustang Interceptor.
True, yes, because he actually had other colors on him. But then, as the movies went on, they just went further and further. And they tried pulling it back, but they tried too late. Because by the time we got to Last Night, which was a horrible film, but...
I never did see that.
By the time we got there, they had tried to cover them more, make them have a little... Like, Megatron looks... Well, it's still Megatron. He looks more robotic, yet less alien, kind of whatever, if you know what I mean. What we got when, and if you haven't seen it, I don't have any screenshots of it. I wish I did, but this is what I was hoping for from the get-go. When we have a and it really does look like the toy of Optimus Prime. It uses that as its basis, and it is the Generation 1 Optimus. And that was cool enough. It was like, oh, wow, G1 Optimus. And then there's G1 Soundwave, and Ravage comes out of his chest like a tape. And it was like, whoa. And then that was just the teaser. And then they showed the actual trailer, and then there's Shockwave and the Seekers, and there's somebody else, and I can't remember in the background who else was there. But I'm hoping we get to see a whole bunch of that on Cybertron and see some of that where those characters, I mean, if they don't have G1 Megatron, I'm going to be very upset. As long as they don't have the big trigger, because that'll kind of kill it. The trigger kind of kills it.
We're going to have to censor that too.
Yeah. You did see that robot chicken, right?
No.
Where Megatron transforms and he's like, attack! And he starts pulling the trigger. They all stop and look at him. He's like, what? This is how I fire my weapon.
Actually, I vaguely recall that one now.
It was like, they all, like, they're shooting and they all kind of just look at him and stop shooting. And he's like, what? Attack! Attack!
Yeah, if you do the big trigger thing, that's just gonna be another case of
yes,
bat dick. But yeah, it does look pretty cool. I wasn't even gonna watch Bumblebee, but it's like maybe I'll watch this one.
Yeah, I think. I mean, aside from I'm amazed that Volkswagen said yes. Volkswagen had a conniption back in the '80s. That Bumblebee was being used was that his model was a VW Bug, because their big deal was no Volkswagens in war films or anything that dealt with violence.
Well, they're retiring the Bug again.
Yes,
fully retiring it.
Fully retiring. It's going away. I mean, they retired the old one back in 2009 when the last one was made back down in Mexico. I think it was 2009, and now the actual new Bug is going away too, which is sad because the new Bug kind of looks kind of cool.
They're actually talking about the classic Bug. The classic Bug wasn't done. There was still a factory.
No, the last one. The last one.
There's been 3 versions of the Bug. And
classic,
the classic, the iMac. I don't know what else to call it.
The new Beetle that came out back in the.
And then the really sleek one from the last few years that didn't sell.
Which I really like. I think that one because it looks more like a classic.
It's too aggressive for a Bug, though.
I kind of like.
I see
they masculinized it.
I like the car, but I can understand why a lot of Bug people probably weren't happy with it.
Well, my ex-wife was a new Beetle fanatic. She's owned, I think she has one of the newer ones now. But she's had a bunch of them, and they were very feminine cars. I mean, they had a vase for flowers in it. I don't know too many dudes that go around like, I'm going to put some flowers in my car. But it was it was geared towards women drivers. It really was. The colors, the way it was designed, the way it was handled, and that it was geared towards women drivers. I knew men that drove them, and they used that little thing to either hold pencils or whatever, but it's just like a little spot next to your steering wheel. I was like, who the heck puts flowers in their car? But the newer one was like you said, it was very aggressive looking, and they tried to masculine it to make it more appealing to, I guess, male drivers, because I guess they were trying something, and I didn't realize it wasn't selling. If I had the money, I would have bought one. They had a chocolate brown one that actually looked really cool. It was a good color on the Beetle for some reason. But the old ones, I'm pretty sure the old one, the classic Beetle, the last new classic Beetle was made in 2009. And then they closed the factory.
In Mexico, that is a good question. Let me check.
Pretty sure it was 2009. Maybe 2007. I'm going to be completely wrong. It's like 2013. I'm going to be all mad. I'm still amazed they were still making them.
Let's see.
Longest lasting production run of any vehicle ever.
with ties to Hitler.
So
Ish.
2003 is when it stopped production in Mexico.
No, not an ish. The Volkswagen was the people's car. That was a Nazi. It started in Nazi Germany.
That's where the concept came from.
Well, actually, I actually saw something. I can't remember if it was Jalopnik or something else, but apparently Hitler's Beetle, the original design was made by a Jew.
No, I thought it was made by Porsche.
Yes. At least the Type 12,
I wonder
which was very similar to it.
I wonder how Audi, because Audi is basically just a souped-up Volkswagen. A lot of them have the same, whatchamacallit, frames as the Volkswagens.
Here we go. Yeah, I'm posting the link in the cantina.
Joseph Gans, the very influential German motor journalist, so cars in Germany in the 30s. Wow.
Hitler
So, yeah.
did laid the cornerstone for the factory,
Yes.
but that's pretty much it. After his involvement was done at that point, because then they stopped, producing for the war.
Volkswagen. Ja. The Wagen for the people. Jawohl.
Oh, Schnapp!
I could go for some schnapps right now.
Speaking of backpedaling,
Yes.
apparently Sony is backpedaling.
Backpedaling big time.
They're gonna do crossplay for Fortnite.
Biggest game to hit the multiplayer in a long time. You think? You wonder? I wonder why. Seeing as every other gaming system can crossplay, they're missing out.
See that's money you're just leaving on the table.
Yeah, you're just leaving it there. Problem is, if they do it with Fortnite, they're going to have to start doing it with other things.
I didn't realize that India had stopped making the Hindustan ambassador. It basically it was a Morris Oxford produced under license in India from 1958 to 2014.
Huh? You're saying English words that I don't understand.
It's an old car that was manufactured in India for a long time.
Weren't they considered death traps?
I think
No, those are the
smart
roads.
car.
Yeah, you know what?
The roads are death traps. Yes.
I have never seen a smart car in an accident.
Probably because the people driving it know if they get hit so much as tapped, they did.
No, the new ones have incredibly strong frames and are very safe.
Do they bounce? I'd be afraid of driving something that small and light. I really would. I mean, my car is light. I have a Volkswagen Jetta, 2008 Jetta, and it gets blown around all over the place. When it's windy, I can feel it.
To be fair, I would feel more safer in a Jetta than I would in a smart car.
Well, I love my Jetta. This would be the second one I've owned. I mean, I've had this model. I had 2005 and then a 2008, and I love it. When they've changed, now the newer ones aren't. They look pretty good. I would have to test drive one to see how it feels comparatively. But I mean, they've got some get up and go. My car runs like a top still. I mean, it's got over 100,000 miles on it, and it's a beautiful car. But it's light enough that when it is windy, if I get a crosswind, I mean, it moves my car. That's how light my car is. Whereas my wife's big Toyota SUV, it's like driving a tank. No pun in, no offense, tank, but I mean, it really is comparatively. I mean, we hit coming back from Florida back in July. We hit a microburst with like some serious gale force winds coming out of Florida, and whereas the road was covered in water and there was hydroplaning damage, dangers and stuff like that, there was no fear of the wind because I barely felt the wind. I felt the rain, and I definitely could feel the water on the road. But in my car, I would have been all over the place.
Well,
Yeah, you've never lived until you've driven through a microburst.
The 2017 Smart 4.2 has a 4-star safety rating.
yeah, I just
It's like a Volvo.
I just happened to look through, Google here, and yeah, they've definitely had accidents with them. They look like they explode.
The body panels may come off, but the there's a safety cage. The frame is like nearly indestructible.
Really? Because I'm looking at one here, and then it's like, it looks pretty destructive to me.
I don't know. I mean, a smart car is basically like a Mentos. It's all hard on the outside, but soft and squishy on the inside.
Right?
So you're saying, but are they a fresh maker?
Well, you're not going to feel very fresh afterwards.
More like a squish maker.
Yeah.
Yeesh.
Yeah, just an example.
Oh my god!
Like I said, I would feel more safer in the Jetta than I would one of those.
Now,
That
to be
is
fair,
obviously a fatality.
I don't
was gonna
think
say.
that's a smart car.
Let me see.
I'm
Second
fairly
looks pretty-
certain that's not a Smart 4.2.
well, it looks pretty similar.
No, because the Smart 4.2 doesn't have a spare on the back like that, and it doesn't have a wing that big. That's some sort of like Suzuki or something.
That second one he posted is.
That second one is definitely gone squish.
That one is definitely a smart for two. And of course,
Yeah, but
it's the 405.
most cars aren't going to survive that kind of accident.
Now, hang on a sec. Let's see here, just to be fair. That's just from the passenger side. This is on the driver's side. So, they actually may have survived it just fine.
I'll
car's-
be pinned.
Let's just say that car is totally wrecked. And they're going to probably have a lot of bruises at the very least.
Funny, it won't appear. I can't get it to appear.
Well, I can't help you there.
And on that side note, I'm going to go hunting for smart cars so I can take them off the road.
No, you don't want to do that. There's usually
You know
people
what,
around.
though? Yeah, that is definitely a survivable accident because, I mean, airbag deployed. The only thing that might have really been, I mean, look how close the steering wheel is to the seat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they got hurt.
Yeah, there's definitely pain involved in that. But Wolfie seems to be, I guess, yeah, look at because there's no real damage to the frame. It's like it crumpled. Huh. Well, they do design cars to crumple now and absorb impact.
You know what absorbs the impact really well? Armor plate.
Mm-hmm.
Not that you're going to put armor plate on a smart car.
No. On a truck, maybe, but not a
C8 into
not
a
one
smart
of
car.
those.
I don't know where you'd put it, but you got to figure out. I mean, I know there have been people who did it to what was the old? There was like one of the Geos, one of the small little Geo cars they made.
The
Oh,
Metros.
yeah.
I think it was the Metro or someone. They were ripping out the back and throwing in a really or a rear engine into it, so it still looked like a Metro from the outside. But they'd pull up and say, "Hey, want a drag race?" And then there's like this 1 pound car with nothing but engine just would tear off the line.
And then all you hear is just the
Yeah, if a Metro pulls up next to you and it's got a wheelie bar in the back, don't race them.
They're probably going to win that one.
Yeah, unless the Metro didn't have the wheelie bar at the back and was a sleeper.
Actually, we were driving. What was I driving the other day? I had my daughter in the car. Oh, no, I had both my kids in the car. We hit a road that was freshly graveled, and I love it. Like the speed limit said, 45 miles an hour. Yeah, this was not a 45-mile-an-hour road because there were a lot of twists and turns. And it is the first time I have had to counter steer in my Jetta ever to get around corners. Because I was doing 45 when I hit this gravel because it went from pavement to gravel. And the first turn, I had to counter steer or I was going off the road. So I basically drifted around the first two corners, and my kids were like, "That was so cool!" I was like, "No, that was not cool. So not cool, especially in a front-wheel drive car. Not cool."
That's when you just play it up. It's like, yep, not everybody's as good as your dad, but we're not gonna do that anymore.
It's because it's like, this is a front-wheel drive car. I press the gas, and my front tires move. And if I got a counter steer, that means I have to do it with no power. Oh, it was so not cool.
And that's the main reason why I love rear-wheeled drive cars. Because they are fun. Especially in the snow.
Well, that's what I told my kids. I was like, if Daddy had his old car, yeah, we would have had some real fun on this road because I could do these turns faster than 20 miles an hour. But yeah, that was a very hair-raising moment. It was like, oh wow, man, front-wheel drive car. Never had to do it before.
It's like traveling around the scenic route of Arkansas. If it says 5-mile-an-hour turn, it's not lying. You will turn at 5 miles an hour. Otherwise, you're going to go right into a cliff.
Tell you what, Arkansas scared me.
Once you get on the highways, it's not so bad. But man, them scenic routes. Whoop.
Oh yeah, and you know what got me the first? Because I grew up in the north, and we had corn and soybeans, and everything was green in the fields. Drove down there, and it was like, why is everything in the field brown? Because it was all cotton. I had never seen cotton growing, and it was like I'm driving by these acres upon acres of what looked like dead plants. I was like, what is this?
Yep, and on that note, I must flee.
Do flee. He flees.
You are a flea, a tiny little flea. So we're going to put that flea in a box, and we're going to put that box in a box, and we're going to mail it to ourselves. And then when it shows up, we'll smash it with a hammer.
Actually, do we have anything else?
There is Age of Discovery for Star Trek Online. Mm-hmm. That's what I was playing, when we started the show.
Is it started already?
No, I was actually just doing a breach run, and that ends this Saturday, I believe. And they've been hyping it up a bit. It's not as big a hype as what they did for Victory is Life. There's no huge purchases for ships or anything like that, mostly because probably there isn't that many ships for one.
I don't know. I thought they were going to have quite a few ships.
Well, they're not as many ships as they're being produced as what they produced for Victory is Life.
Yeah.
Like, they literally gave you, 6 new ships.
What class is the Discovery?
Crossfield?
Crossfield. There's going to be Crossfield classes all over the place.
Well, there already is.
Gonna be buying. Really?
Yeah, because a lot of people have got them from lock boxes.
Okay. That's a lot. I don't know. I don't mind the design of the Discovery. I hope they tweak it as it goes. But you know what? It gives me hope when I see that CBS is right there and Star Trek Online is right there alongside CBS, putting out new content involving the new stuff that CBS is doing, that maybe, just maybe, we will see the Enterprise F in one of their shows.
Oh, maybe.
Even if it's just briefly on screen. All it has to be is on screen briefly, and guess what? It's canon. But my luck is it'll be the new one and not the original Odyssey.
So, is Patrick Stewart part of the actual writer's room for the new Picard series?
Why wouldn't he be?
I'm not criticizing it. I'm just asking.
It would make perfect sense. I mean, he knows the character.
Again, I'm not criticizing. It was just a question.
Well, from the photo, I'd say yes. There's your answer, and that's just an answer. I'm not criticizing.
And for all we know, he's actually going to be directing some. He does that too.
I'm all for it. I just didn't know if it had been announced if he was part of the writing team or not. I do think that this series is going to be different than some people expect. It's not going to be a return to a TNG style show, not with Chabon involved.
Probably not. And I mean, if they were to do a TNG style show, people would say, "Oh, now you're just copying the Orville,"
which is just copying TNG.
Mm-hmm. Aesthetics, the feel, the way it's shot, and all that kind of stuff. And you know what? I think Orville works because of it. I like throwback.
Well, what I like about Orville is it's nice to have a mostly positive sci-fi show, which is not a common thing in this day and age.
It's very much like the late 70s. Late 70s, everything in media was always about, I mean, you look at the TV shows from the late 70s, look at the movies from the late 70s, or the mid to late 70s, they were all just downers. Even the sitcoms on TV were downers. It was always about people down on their luck, or it's just like there was never anything fun or happy. It was just funny situations happening to people who needed funny situations to happen to, I guess. And then the media, like movies and stuff, you had Earthquake. It was all disaster films and dark and
Airport 79 grimy and stuff like that.
Yeah, and Earthquake. It was like Earthquake and Poseidon
Towering Inferno.
Hey, that's a great movie. I mean, King Kong. Oh wait, no. But then Star Wars came along and changed the landscape forever.
Well, kinda.
Yeah, movies took a turn for the more fun after that.
Sure, for a while.
Yeah.
They've gotten darker since. More down.
Yeah, it's just it's maybe and we need another Ferris Bueller's, man. Not to say that they need to copy Ferris Bueller's, but we need something in that kind of feel where it was just a movie you can go have fun with. It wasn't raunchy.
He was a terrible person.
Yeah, he was a terrible person, but the movie was fun.
He also may not have existed.
Oh, you're going to get into the conspiracy theories?
There's a fan theory that he's all in what's his nuts imagination, that's the person he wants to be.
And he's contemplating suicide, isn't he? While thinking up this entire adventure?
Yeah, I think that is part of one of the theories.
Yes, I've heard that theory where he's either in the process of committing suicide or he's like right there contemplating it.
But then at the end, he decides that he's in charge of who he is.
So it's basically Fight Club.
Go, maybe.
Mind blown! Mind blown!
I have no mind.
No, the movie that some people claim is a prequel to Fight Club is I can't remember. It's some movie where some kid imagines a soldier or something. Oh, I can't remember right now.
The Never-Ending Story?
No, it's not like it's not like a super popular movie.
Oh, it's not the Tin Drum, is it? No, because that's no. Okay, speaking of the Never, just completely tangent right here, off the rails. I'm not the only one that wanted to punch Bastion in the face, am I? As a kid, watching the Never-Ending Story?
Jeez, you know how long it's been since I've seen that?
Because they kept interrupting the awesomeness that was that movie to cut to this kid's reactions. And it was just like, his reactions were so badly acted. I just wanted, like, you know what? Punch this kid.
Which movie are we talking about?
The Never-Ending Story.
Oh, and there is a Ferris Bueller is a Fight Club prequel theory, apparently.
Oh, okay. Wow. So that wasn't original? Man, it's always something. Somebody always comes up with something first.
Cloak and Dagger. That's the movie. I found the theory too.
Ah. Haven't seen that in ages.
I don't think I've ever actually seen it. I think like 10 people have ever seen it.
Well, it's not ringing any bells for me.
I know what I am going to link in both. Well, I mean, I'm sure it's out there. If people listen to us, they go to the geeky websites and have seen it. Wolfie, you've seen the anime Star Wars trailer, right?
I haven't actually sat and watched it, no.
It's the guy does such a good job with it. It really is because it's got the old '80s feel, late '70s, '80s animation kind of feel to it. He captured the essence of what was like the old, like Battle of the Planets and that kind of feel to it.
Sure, but I think there's a lot of cheats he did. It's very stilted. Like I'd seen the same exact X-wing pass almost every time that it was shown. It wasn't very varied. Like the guy who did the TIE Fighter one. Oh my god, that was
but he did a very
fantastic.
much more modern anime style.
I disagree.
This guy, you think?
I 100% disagree. That was very much old school anime. The high end anime like Akira.
Okay, yeah, but even Akira I would consider modern anime, even though it's 25 years old.
Firefly's asking where'd the theory come from, and I'm assuming that's in regards to Bueller.
Bueller, yeah. But no, when I think
the Cloak and Dagger theories from Cracked, the website.
Oh, well, we can't trust them.
Yeah, the when I think of old school anime, like anime, and I think of Gatchaman, and Gatchaman used a lot of stock foot, like they would rehash. Voltron did it. Voltron had a very stilted look and things. There was a lot of stock footage used, especially like the transformation of Voltron, and anytime a lion flew by, it was like they would use the same thing over and over. Now, does he do it in a very short amount of time? Yeah, he does. And it's really funny is the Vader and Obi-Wan fight scene is rotoscoped over those guys that did the animation or did the Obi-Wan Vader fight recently that's been floating around on YouTube. Have you seen that one?
No.
Where they use original footage as well as augmented CG and stuff like that to make the fight between Obi-Wan and Anakin much more dynamic. Let me see if I can find a link to that one while you talk to Monsters out.
I'll talk amongst myself. Talk. Yeah, Firefly. What's the clarification on about the theory? Was that in regards to Bueller or the Cloak and Dagger? Wait for that response in the meantime.
We're getting 6 new episodes of Mr. Science Theater 3000 on Thanksgiving on Netflix.
Okay. I am not against this. Just having a glance at Tumblr, and sure enough, more Bowsette. That bandwagon is definitely one of the more popular ones that I've seen for a while.
Firefly, I'm not really sure where it really originated, but I found it in a HuffPost article.
Okay, I just posted 2 different videos. The first one is the original little short, and then someone recut it using footage from A New Hope.
Now, what is it that they did with this?
If you watch, it's computer generated. They took the fight between Obi-Wan and Anakin and made it much more dynamic instead of just two old guys hitting each other with swords. Watch the first one and then watch the recut. I put them in order so you can see the way the guy really did it, and then you watch it cut. Someone then took it and cut it with footage and intercut stuff from the original film, and it actually works.
You know, it's already more dramatic.
Just really well done. I myself honestly have nothing else. There's really, aside from the Bumblebee stuff, and I guess they're releasing a trailer for X-Men tonight, if it hasn't already been released. A Dark Phoenix trailer.
I guess they're going to somehow bring X-Men into the Marvel Universe now that it's all owned by Disney.
It's just going to be a new power has arisen, and then the Disney head is going to rise up, and then you're going to see snicket, snicket, and two hands are going to come up with claws, and that'll be the whole trailer.
Snicket?
Snick.
I thought it was snicked.
Snicked.
Confirmed Transformers. OG Optimus. OG. Oh my! I can't. Oh,
Yeah, that should be fun.
He made Obi-Wan's lightsaber weirdly long in a couple of spots.
not as weirdly long as Vader's when he slices through Obi-Wan.
It's like, didn't you swing at it from like about 10
No,
feet away?
I mean the handle.
Oh, okay.
Well, it was probably to make up for the fact that there was a cord sticking out of it.
No, I'm talking about in the computer animated parts. The handle is really long in a couple of shots.
Firefly, I do wonder if this version of Dark Phoenix will include the Shi'ar. I don't know.
Like if you go to like around 108 in the version with the actual Star Wars footage mixed in and watch from there, you'll see the handle is like insanely long in a couple for that section.
No, doesn't seem that long to me.
Okay, so Sophie Turner will introduce the trailer debut on CBS's Late Show with James Corden at 12:37. Probably hit the interwebs at about 1 a.m. Eastern. Well, that's just stupid. Well, so much for getting the exclusive on it here on the show.
They did it specifically to deny us.
Denied. Whereas I don't mind. I don't mind it. Sophie Turner as Jean Grey. I just liked what's her name better.
I
Jansen.
I saw a weird rumor that James McAvoy supposedly was volunteering to play Picard flashbacks in the series.
That'd be awesome.
If they flash back to young Picard.
That would be awesome.
I don't know if it's true or not. It may be something just somebody came up with as a joke.
Be okay with
it. That'd be kind of like doing a TV show with David Lee Roth, and if he wasn't available, just get Sammy Hagar every once in a while. Too soon?
No, apparently it's real. He's quoted as saying, "I can play young Picard in new Star Trek show."
Make it so.
And I found this on sites other than trekmovie.com and other Trek sites. CNET has an article on it.
Centered Avenger 4 image seems to confirm Hawkeye becomes Ronin. Well, duh. Most likely because his entire family was wiped out during the snap.
There's apparently some costume things that they've shown, like Captain America's got the scales on his suit finally.
Yes.
Which I like how they did. Kind of wish they'd done it sooner. Not that I have any complaints with what they did before.
Did you guys discuss that supposedly they've agreed to use the James Gunn script for Guardians 3?
Hadn't heard anything about that. Everybody's calmed down and quieted down, so I figured that they got what they wanted. That, and they got the actors to go along. Because didn't they pretty much say, we're not doing it without at least his script?
I don't think Batista wants to do it, period, at this point.
That's okay. They'll just get Dwayne Johnson to fill in.
That actually makes me wonder. And this does touch a little bit on other current events. But, how Gunn was basically taken out because of some alt-right jackhole, brought up what his comments that he had made in the past when he was being edgy.
Mm-hmm.
You also got what's going on with the nomination for the Supreme Court.
Let's not get.
No, we're not getting political. There's a reason why I brought it up. So it's kind of interesting how you got folks who, like, Batista, who stands up hardcore for James Gunn, and frankly, I'm honestly not saying that they probably shouldn't stand up for him, just because of who was pushing for it, or who was pushing to have him fired. It's just kind of interesting that we see a lot more of this now, really taking up more and more of our visibility. You kind of wonder if that's going to carry over into other things. Like, would this be brought up, say, like in Age of Discovery? This particular topic, or I guess what's another way to refer to it as? Like, would it be brought up as, like, historical context?
An issue. It's an issue.
For an issue that they're talking.
I would hope by the point of that's what Star Trek was all about, is that we've evolved, that mankind has moved past the baser instincts and gotten away from this kind of stuff. Not that there aren't creeps and losers out there, but that the majority of mankind has just gotten past that. I would hope. I mean, that's. I think that's one of my issues with Discovery, is it takes that side of what made Star Trek, even like The Cage. The Cage had a hopefulness to it, that there was a light at the end of the tunnel, and then Discovery comes around and it's like all the same problems we have today they're still dealing with. I don't know.
Well, I mean, one thing that Star Trek always was good at was covering kind of current issue stuff, and they put it within the trappings of Star Trek.
Yes, they did a very good job at it, and I don't know. They probably could. I mean, I don't see. Yeah, because I mean, there's always going to be men and women that think that the rules don't apply to them, and I am putting women in the same boat, because there are women that do harass men.
True.
And it's not just a male-oriented issue. It is a human issue, that there are people who just don't have that the boundaries don't exist for them, or they think they don't exist for them, and think they can get away with whatever they want. Whether it's stealing something or touching someone or whatever it is, that there's going to be people that do that. I would just hope that by Star Trek, the point in start that it has been something that is, I don't know, dealt with in a, I don't know.
Well, considering how they've had some of the characters behave, I'm not so sure. Like, Tilly is probably the closest to one to behaving like other Star Trek characters in other series. Very much full of life and
She's got
eyes
an.
wide open,
She's also
that
very
innocence.
naive. Yeah, she's innocent in a way that it's more it's the word naivete than it is experience that brought her
Tilly's
there.
not as innocent as she plays, though.
True. I mean, there's a reason they made her drop the first F-bomb on Star Trek.
Which really wasn't necessary, but whatever.
Yeah, and you know what? Again, it's Spock said it best. And the little thing in Star Trek 4 between Kirk and Spock, where there was no reason. It's like they laced it with more colorful metaphors. Nobody took you seriously unless you use those words. Well, here we are, and Star Trek set 20 years before the original series, and I guess it only took 20 years to get past all that, huh?
I have a new Transformers headcanon, by the way.
And that would be?
The original Herbie movies are Bumblebee prequels.
I don't think you're the first one to think that.
No, you're not. I've seen others comment about that. Just because, he's definitely a Volkswagen bug now. Though speaking of Star Trek and Star Trek Online, I got something that you guys can watch on your own time, but we can put this in our Twitch channel. It's a video called Star Trek Online, The Voyages of USS Anime. And it's a couple guys playing Star Trek Online for the first time. They don't really know much about it, but they're trying it out. And it's just kind of amusing, the shenanigans they get up to. And one of the first things they do after they've created their character is they do a Foundry mission instead of doing the actual missions. And they're like, the complaints that they make is kind of amusing. Oh, my super fast starship. It's like, you're a tier 1 guy, man. You're not going to go fast. Well, yeah, the first time they actually go into sector space and they go to the map, like, oh, geez, this is gonna take a while. Where's the planet that we're looking for? And it just keeps on going. Yeah, so I think they kind of highlight some of the bugs, which, to be fair, most games have bugs, and Star Trek Online is definitely not immune to bugs. So it's a 10-minute long video, but if people want to check it out, you totally should, because it's actually quite amusing, especially if you play Star Trek Online. Especially the way he built his characters. Oh my god! I want to actually find the character and, I don't know, shadow him or something, because it's fantastic. Assuming he's going to play it again. Which he did say, if at the end of it, if you want us to make more of this, just say, hey, we want more of that star thing. I commented, I want more of that star thing.
You want more of that star? Well, there's other Star Trek news. Now, we don't get paid for anything. We don't advertise on this show. But I missed it the last time it happened. I don't know if anyone knows, but James Cawley, the man who brought Star Trek fan films into the modern age, I think it would be, with Star Trek New Voyages, now runs the fully licensed CBS Studio Tour, or Star Trek Studio Tour, in Ticonderoga, New York, where the sets that have been faithfully recreated from the original series that they used during the making of their fan films has now been licensed by CBS, where you can go actually tour the Enterprise as it was back in 1966. And I've seen the layout. I've never been there, but I've seen the layout, and it is actually laid out exactly as it was in where they have it built in. It's a big, I guess, a studio now. out in Ticonderoga, and it's beyond faithful. James Cawley has done monstrous amounts of research trying to find the perfect textures and fabrics and props and things and creating things that were identical as they were back in '66. Well, he had William Shatner there, what, 2 months ago, a month ago?
Pretty recently.
Very recently. And I guess Shatner is now coming back in December, along with the actor who's playing Pike, Anson. What's his name?
Anson Mount. Yes,
Anson. I knew it was Mount. Why did I not say that? Anson Mount will be there, and I guess tickets are on sale now. They vary in prices where you can actually, a couple $100, you can actually hang out with William Shatner on the bridge and blah 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 and all this kind of stuff. But that being said, and saying how cool that really is, you can go hang out on the Enterprise with William Shatner, and it's going to cost you a couple $100, but there's the experience of a lifetime just being with Captain Kirk on the Enterprise. We haven't talked about the other side of Star Trek fandom in a long time, but I have to bring this up just because it is so blasted hilarious. While James Cawley has William Shatner, Anson Mount, fully licensed CBS studio, incredible set, and blah, 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 there's the Axanar group.
Oh, God!
And I'm going to bring this up just because of the hilarity of charging people money to go walk on unfinished sets in a warehouse in the middle of nowhere, Georgia. You can spend $91 and go tour the unused, probably never to be used sets that were half built for an unfinished fan film. And you can meet and greet Alec Peters and a few other people out there. But the kicker of it is,
there's also the fact that the producer has now claimed that his primary critic is a moon landing conspiracy believer.
But the best part of it is tied in conjunction with another convention that is going on, I'm guessing, almost an hour away from where he's. And now, get this, the name is Axicon. Really? Yeah. But it's tied into this other event that's 45 minutes away, that there is no transportation provided whatsoever. You have to get yourself there, and you have to get yourself back and forth, pay this money to go walk through a warehouse in the middle of Georgia. So there's that. And I just thought it was really funny that the contrast of these two things that's going on, and it's just like, I know where I would spend my money.
Too, yeah.
I'd go meet William Shatner and Anson Mount. Not that I wouldn't mind hanging out and talking to Gary Graham, but I can go talk to Gary Graham and who else was going to be there?
JJ Hertzler's.
JG
Hertzler's going to be there. Jonathan Lane is going to be there.
Woohoo! But yeah, and Everest
No Dog Joe.
Yes, and David Gerald will be there with all his tribbles and probably a bucket so you can help pay for his car insurance or something.
But just remember, he has no dog in the fight.
Got no dog in the fight, but he's going to be there. Now, again, I have no qualm against the guys that are going to be there. It's just the fact that there's a convention for a fan film that was never made. Yes, Prelude to Axanar was made. It's out there, and I will be one of the first ones to say Prelude to Axanar was a very well-made film. It's intriguing. It's visually fun to watch. It's very well done. But Axanar itself, the actual film, never was produced. It's not done.
Never will be.
And never probably will be. I mean, they're claiming up and down it will be. I keep tabs on it. They keep claiming it will be, but I highly doubt it. We're already, 2.5 years now past the lawsuit finishing, and nothing's been done. There's no money. There's nothing. But, yeah. Spend your money wisely and go see William Shatner in Ticonderoga.
Definitely the better option.
Still hilarious. Did you like that lead-in, Wolfie?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of also awesome and hilarious, Weezer recently had done a cover of Africa, and they randomly had Weird Al Yankovic come out on stage with them with a accordion.
Yeah.
And now they've actually made a music video, only it's Weird Al Yankovic singing as the lead singer of Weezer instead of, the actual guy.
I guess they're going to do a whole bunch of covers. From what I heard, that Africa was just one of many.
Well, the Africa cover video I just dropped in the cantina.
Okay.
So watch that.
Please remember that you cannot see Kilimanjaro from the plains. You can't.
What if you try really, really hard?
No, I mean, there was an interview done with the guys from Toto, and they asked him about that. It's like, you really can't see Kilimanjaro from where you said you can. And he's like, you know what? I didn't know that at the time when I wrote it. I do now. It just sounded cool and it fit.
It's a little late to go back and change that one.
Yeah, a little too late. And it's still a great song. It really is. I don't know anybody that does know the words to it.
And it's just a good...
It's a feel-good song. Yeah, it's a good tune.
It's not, and it's also not as meme-ish as Rickrolling People.
Yeah. Now speaking of tunes that totally blew me, for some reason, a whole lot of people the other day on my Facebook page were posting a link to the same exact video, which was the Lita Ford, Ozzy Osbourne, If I Close My Eyes Forever song. And it just struck me after hearing that song for the past 25 years and knowing the words and all that kind of stuff, singing the words out loud, I never realized that I'm pretty sure that song's an allegory for suicide.
Which one?
If I Close My Eyes Forever.
Well, it seems like it would be to me too.
Yeah. And it's done in a power ballad, very love songy kind of way, but it's pretty dark. Still a great tune too. I just thought again, random thought just flowing out of me because we're at the hour-and-a-half mark, and I'm pretty sure I have spent everything I've got to say.
And I'm spent.
And I'm spent.
Well, yeah, let's see. Florence wasn't as bad as it could have been, but we don't have an Alistair. Though he's probably watching his niece.
He was in Fayetteville earlier. I don't know why.
I can tell you right now, having seen photos that my sister posted of her office in North Carolina, yeah, Florence did enough damage.
Well, yeah, I'm saying it's not as bad as it
could have been. It's still pretty bad.
And of course, apparently now they're saying that some of the remnants of Florence could recoalesce into new ones, or Florence could come back again, or possibly go over and smack the UK. Florence, the hurricane that never ends.
So you're saying Aunt Flo can show up next month too? Oh,
yes.
So bad. I should be beaten for that pun.
Yeah, you really should. That was a terrible, terrible pun.
Horrible pun. As long as Aunt Flo doesn't push the red tides towards England, we're okay.
I caught a Meltan today, and it turned into a Ditto.
Good.
What?
They have revealed a new Pokemon for the first time using Pokemon Go, but it seems like every time someone catches it, it turns into a Ditto.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they did that last weekend when they were doing a Chikorita event, and all of a sudden, as I was trying to catch one, they all shifted to something that looked like it had a bolt for its head or something. And it froze up my game because I was literally in the middle of loading into catching something. So I had to close and start over. But every single one I caught was a Ditto.
So you didn't catch them all?
I caught all the ones that were around me. Come on. I mean, I'm not, slacking off here. I'm level 31. Come on. If anybody's slacking off, it's Wolfie.
Yeah, he's definitely not slacking. He's the highest one out of the people that play on my friends list.
Well then.
I know there's a couple that I watch is like 35, and I'm like, for the love of God, man, stop it. Although the game maxes out at 40, I believe. Which means if you hit 40, holy crap. That's a lot of walking. As of right now, though, they are doing an event where they do a lot of the Gen 1 stuff, so if you hadn't been getting those, now's the time. And soon we'll be going into Halloween next week. Spoopy time.
Well, according to all the stores around here, we've been at Halloween for the past month.
Some places the past 2 months.
And now I feel old. Thank you very much to my friend who just posted it on Facebook. 36 years ago, Knight Rider was released.
Oh, man.
I was 11.
I was 3?
No, actually, I was 13. I think. 36? No, I was 11. Dear Lord.
I'm 38 now, so...
No, 39. It's, yeah, okay, no. I was not 11, I was 9.
I guess I was 2. Speaking of that, there is a guy who does like banjo covers, and he did a really good Knight Rider banjo cover. He also did an Airwolf one that was also really good.
Airwolf had a really good opening.
Oh yeah,
Airwolf had an excellent opening.
I watched the Magnum PI premiere.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Wasn't bad.
Really?
They're using the classic helicopter. The new Ferrari got shot up, so we had to drive the classic Ferrari, and it uses the original theme.
Who's playing Wiggins?
Higgins is a hot British babe now, who's a disavowed MI6 agent.
Yeah. I'll just stick to watching the oldies channel over here and keep watching the old ones. I cannot. It's like I tried watching the new Hawaii 5.0 and I couldn't get into it, and nope.
Well, it's kind of like when they did new versions of Knight Rider. It just wasn't quite the same. I think a lot of that has to do too, because that was with the Dodge Viper that turned into the truck. It was really weird, and they used Val Kilmer's voice. It just didn't sound like Kit.
Yeah.
It's just not the same, guys. But there really isn't a car that fits the it kind of fits that mold, you know?
Yeah, not nowadays.
Because that particular car was sleek and stylish, and also kind of a muscle car.
And for its time, it was futuristic looking. It really was. That version of the Trans Am just had a look to it, and nowadays we don't have a car like that.
Yeah, we have cars that look slick, but
I mean, it'd have to be like a concept car something that's not on the road right now.
But people wanted that. They wanted that car. No, they still want that car. I want that car. I don't want to drive it. I just want the car.
Bum-ba-da-dun-dun-dun-dun.
You know, of the reboots that they have done, though, they've never done one of Airwolf.
Because there's no replacing Jan Michael Vincent. Maybe.
I enjoyed the film. The 18 film anyway.
It wasn't bad. I mean, the casting was all right. It just, there was, the nostalgia factor kicks in where you're like, yeah, you know what? I don't know. That's why I think I'm so hyped for the Bumblebee movie, because the nostalgia factor is going to be kicking in hard, especially if they've got G1 characters in it.
True.
And if they do have Megatron, it better be Frank Welker.
Yeah, get it, Welker. Get Peter Cullen. Who voiced Bumblebee? That was Kasem, wasn't it?
No, Kasem did Cliff Jumper. Bumblebee. I had it pulled up earlier. Who the voice actor was? Let me find out. As we just ramble on and on here at the end of the show.
Well, it's Geek EZ is what we do. I wasn't a fan when he was reintroduced as Goldbug.
It was Dan Gilvezan.
Is he still around?
Yes, he is 67 years old now. Born in 1950. He has a book out called Bumblebee and Me, Life as a G1 Transformer.
Well, they should get him back.
Oh God, the older brother from Boy Meets World voiced him in 2 series.
Yeah, he voiced him in the latest one.
Oh,
Didn't
in
he?
3 series. No, Transformers Cyberverse is somebody named Jeremy Levy. Will Friedle was Transformers Robots in Disguise, Transformers Rescue Bots, and Transformers Prime.
He didn't talk until the end of Transformers Prime, right?
No idea.
You've never watched Transformers Prime?
I'm so far behind on Transformers series.
Now, I thought it really funny that they only had him talk once in the films, and that was at the end of the original Transformers movie. Or the first Michael Bay film. And he had a really deep voice. And then he had stopped talking again. I was like, what? Let's see. What else did he voice that you would know him from? He was Henry Mitchell and Ruff, the guy that Dan Gilvezan. He was Henry Mitchell and Ruff in the all-new Dennis the Menace cartoon from 1993. He voiced one of the dads in Rugrats and Dr. Lepetamine. In Transformers, he did Bumblebee, Outback, Hotspot, Goldbug, Skids, Scamper, Snapdragon, Rollbar, and Mr. Robbins. He was the voice of Spider-Man in Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends back in 1981. That's why he sounds so familiar to me. I was like, why do I know this voice? Oh, yeah, Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, Spider-Man.
He was Slipstream in G.I. Joe.
He was Fitzgerald Beck in Gem.
That's truly outrageous.
Truly, truly outrageous. Yeah, there was a property that they tried to reboot that was never going to fly.
It just didn't make any sense.
Yeah, because it was such an 80s idea. The whole premise of Gem was so 19 like mid 80s. It wasn't even funny. And trying to update it just doesn't work, I don't think. Unlike, say, My Little Pony, which updated just fine, and Transformers, which seems to go through its evolutions and yet still kind of feels like Transformers. G.I. Joe?
Turtles.
No, you know what? I will say, for the first time, there is a Turtles cartoon I will not watch. The new one.
Yeah, I'm not keen on it.
Nope. It's just all wrong. Visually, I can't get behind it. I'm like, nope, sorry, not gonna happen. If the literal artwork on screen makes me go, oh dear Lord, I can't watch it. That's how I feel about the new She-Ra. It has nothing to do with that she's not sexualized. It has nothing to do with that. It's the fact that they took a male model character and threw it into a dress, because that is a anime male face, a young anime. It's like, oh, no, what are you doing? Can't do it. I cannot get behind the art style on it. It might have great stories. It might be an awesome show. I just can't visually get into it. And that makes me a sexist. So I already know how that's going to go. Anybody's like, oh, you're just a sexist because she doesn't have big boobs. Has nothing to do with it.
Yeah, it's not your show. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, it's as someone who is I mean, I do the visual. That's my thing. And I was like, no. And it's not the first cartoon like that. Like I said, the Turtles cartoon, it looks horrid. It visually just it's like nails on a chalkboard for me. It's like, oh, nope, can't do it. And it's like a lot of the new Cartoon Network shows where it's all cookie cutter. They all have the exact same character model. They just change something slightly and all of a sudden it's new. They all have the exact same face shape. And I saw somebody did that on Facebook where they took all the characters from all these shows on Cartoon Network now and they lined them all up and they're like, look, it's the exact same shape. Everybody's head it's like they took the base model from the animation program and then said, okay, we're just going to use this.
So speaking of He-Man and She-Ra, I was at a discount store called Gabe's yesterday, and I think for the first time in my life, I actually heard Four Non-Blondes, What's Going On, playing in the wild.
How does that have to do with He-Man?
You've never seen that meme?
No.
You didn't make any jokes about Golovats or Spartacellular. I don't know there, Firefly.
Yeah, you lost me on that one. Oh! Doesn't IDW, the Transformers Star Trek thing comes out this month?
Today.
Adam,
Came out today?
Adam, watch the video in the cantina.
Yeah, I've got the comic. It came out technically yesterday. Oh, I see what you did there, Firefly. I don't think that everybody's quite as hip to those little details as some. Oh no, you linked him to the "What's Going On" meme.
Yes.
You are a horrible person.
Well, he didn't understand the reference.
I hate you, Wolfie. I hate you so much right now.
You can't turn it off, can you?
I had to turn it off. I had to. I got a minute into it. I was like, no, I can't anymore.
Yeah, it's just so wrong.
So much wrong about that. Oh, but yeah, I think we're going to call it, guys. We've been rambling now for the past half an hour. Like, really rambling badly. So bad.
Let's see. Well, man, we got last calls left, so believe that Adam Withers and Comfort Love are still doing their Webtoons contest thing. They should have another one out today, and that'll be on the Firefly, on the Facebook. It could be on the Firefly too. I'm not going to judge.
It's on the face page.
Yeah, we will have a link to it. So if you haven't been following it, and you haven't been favoring it or whatever, then that's where you can get the link to it. It'll be Webtoons for the uniques. I think the one for the Rainbow in the Dark one is done at this point, which was on Mondays, I think. But they're still going with unique, so yeah, if you dig it, fave it, like it, share it. And if you don't dig it, well, fair enough. It's not everybody's cup of tea. But it should.
No. Oh,
No.
man. Why did I not see this earlier? How did this not come across my feeds and stuff? My favorite Batman comic book artist has died.
Oh, age 58, right?
Yeah, Norm Brayfogle, who in the late 80s and early 90s, and he drew Batman in like one of the greatest ways. He made Batman's cape come alive. He just did some incredible things with that character. And I knew he was sick. I knew he was having issues. I didn't realize. And I realized he was so young. Wow. Well, rest in peace, Norm. And you have a fan right now who's very sad.
Apparently 2 days ago.
Yeah. Oh, man. Oh, that's a horrible way to end the show. Thanks. Stupid bleeding cool.
Oh, yeah, he was really bad. Apparently he suffered a stroke in 2014.
Yes. He stopped, yeah. And it wasn't, he had actually stopped drawing before then, so.
He was left-handed. It caused paralysis on his left side, and he was left-handed. And though he regained some use of his left side, he was no longer able to draw professionally. Yeah, makes sense. Eesh.
Yeah, he some of his stuff was just insane. I loved the way he drew Batman.
There's a better version of that video with the opening. The first one I shared only has the song, not the opening.
Okay, I will watch that in a second. But anybody else got anything last? That my last call was a sad note. So wasn't planning on that being my last call, but that was my last call.
Let's see. I did get issue 2 of the Robots versus Princesses. And I have to admit the story's kind of interesting. I admit I'm curious to see where it's going to go. I don't know if I'm curious enough to want to buy the 3rd issue yet. I think that one's a better one to just buy as a trade, you know? Get the whole entire collected story rather than getting it piecemeal. But as for last call things, well, there's a new trailer for Creed 2, which I still haven't even watched the first one.
I have a last call for once.
Go ahead.
So the new Fantastic Beasts trailer has really thrown a monkey wrench in the Harry Potter verse.
I haven't watched it.
Nagini is actually human.
What?
Yes.
Wow.
And people are really upset.
Why?
I think because of the ethnicity of the actress and everything, they feel like it's the whole thing of demeaning to Asian women, subservient Asian women thing.
Somehow I never really saw Nagini as a servant. But then again, I haven't seen the trailer as how they play her out. But Nagini the snake was not a servant.
No, not really. Nagini the snake was controlled, pretty much. It was one and the same. It's a Horcrux for him. That's why it had to be one of the last ones to die. Damn, there was something. Oh, yes. Speaking of being human and whatnot, isn't it weird that the ruler of the Mushroom Kingdom is the one human being, and Princess Peach? There's no other humans in that kingdom. Why and how?
Do we know she's actually human?
I thought she was a toadstool.
I don't know.
I really did.
But
Well, she used to be Princess Toadstool, didn't she?
That's what I thought.
Let's see. Has always been Peach since her debut in the original Super Mario Bros. In 1985, but she would go on to be renamed Toadstool in the English language manual. So, in Japan, she's always been Peach.
Interesting.
I'm just looking to see if they actually cover that, because it's kind of weird that you have this one human being ruling over all of these little. I don't even know how you describe them. Toad and Toadette and others like them.
Anthropomorphized mushrooms.
Yeah. In 2007, Princess Peach landed on Forbes magazine's wealthiest fictional people list with a fortune of approximately $1.3 billion. Probably because of the fact that she rules over a kingdom. You know, with a fortune of $1.3 billion, maybe she'd hire some guards to keep her from getting kidnapped all the time.
You think? Instead of relying on a plumber.
Then again, maybe she just likes the attention. Because does he have? We don't know what Bowser's end goal is. It just kidnaps her and then
Puts her in a dungeon.
it's like step 1, kidnap. Step 2, step 3, profit. Firefly, sapient fungi. Okay, yeah, that's fair. I guess Toad and Toadette are sapient fungi. And I wonder if they can pull off I can't know how to pronounce that. Mycelial ambush from Discovery. You know, I wouldn't put it past them. That'd be kind of terrifying. All those tiny little guys suddenly just doing the little spore drive jump. Okay, so I guess to sum it up, Princess Peach was born in the Mushroom Kingdom and resides there.
She's a mushroom.
And Toad and them are mushroom retainers. But she's apparently a human.
She's a mushroom.
She's not a mushroom.
She's a mushroom.
She's not a mushroom. She's very clearly human, man.
All right. But we're going to wrap it on that one. Princess Peach. All right, well, we'll be back next week. Hopefully Alistair will be here with us.
It might show up with a super crown for all we know.
Alistair will?
Yeah.
Cool.
Alistairette?
Yes, exactly. See, he's not here to defend himself, so...
Don't you already have a character named Tankette?
Yeah, but that was from a different, different creation, not from a super crown. Although arguably one could do that to pretty much any character. You're just basically taking Peach and applying characteristics of the other character to her. So I don't know what characteristics a Alistairette would have, but I'm assuming that it'd probably be a fascination with guns.
Yes. Oh. All right, well, back next week. Hopefully we'll have more. Well, we'll definitely be talking about the Phoenix trailer that they're going to release at 1 a.m. tonight or something stupid.
Oh, wait. True.
What?
True last call. Solo is out.
Yes, Solo. You know what's funny? I don't have it yet. I just haven't gotten to the store.
And neither have I. I'm going to do that probably tomorrow.
Yeah, probably either tomorrow or Friday. And so far, the cheapest place I found it was Walmart.
Makes sense.
It's like $26 there. Everybody else has it like $29 for the 4K. But, yeah, we'll be back next week. Say goodnight, guys.
Later.
Oh, you know, look, real quick, before we go. Last week we talked about the N64 Classic. It would seem that it's going to happen, seeing as Nintendo copyrighted it.
They were listening in. They're like, hey, let's do this. Well, Nintendo, you better jump on the whole Bowserette thing too, then.
You better do it. All right.
The iron's hot.
It is hot. And that's where we're going to leave it. Good night. See you later, Firefly. Thanks for being here. And everybody else listening, because we've got people listening. Nobody's saying anything, but we got people listening. So thanks for listening, and we'll be back next week. Bye-bye.